Hey guys, it's Onin, and today I want to talk about something that may be a bit more relevant to most players at this point in Battle Rite. It's picking up a new hero, a new champion to play. It's something probably most of you have thought about or just have done at some point, considering you kind of want to learn how every one of them works to get an idea of how you counter them and such. Or just because whatever you're playing right now doesn't really work out and you want to try something different. So the reason I want to talk about this is because it's actually exactly what I did this week. I thought to myself, I'm kind of interested in playing a healer properly, and I was actually more drawn to the potential that Sirius has, even though he's seen as a little bit low tier at the moment. He has some cool things, and I wanted to see how well he can work if you kind of learn how to make use of him properly. So, aside from the obvious ideas of, go into practice, mess around with his abilities, see how everything aims, see how fast you are at certain stages, how well does your space work, how far does it go, how often do you get to use it, how safe can you be. Checking all of those things beforehand and just getting comfortable with using your abilities is always a good idea before you start going into real matches, because you're probably going to suck at something if you don't prepare a little bit. I also recommend heavily going into an AI match first, at least one. You get a nice feel of how a normal battle flow against the worst possible opponents could be. But the main question that I think is worth asking while you pick up a new hero to kind of figure out why you want to play him. And it sounds like a really obvious question. I mean, you're picking it because it's strong at something, or maybe because you just got destroyed by it in a game. You want to figure out how to do that and do it back at other people. But the real question you gotta ask is, what specific facet of the hero is really the thing that draws you, the thing that you're going for, and the thing that he can excel at? Something that you can make a game plan around, like I talked about in the previous episode. So in the case of Sirius, who I picked up, people think of him as that overly aggressive healer with a bunch of burst damage that goes ham on people. But the reason I wanted to play him is actually because he can put out some ridiculous control. So you've got this skill, Lunar Strike. It petrifies for 3.4 seconds. That's longer than most CCs, and most CCs cost energy. Sirius can just do it whenever the hell he wants. And not just that, he has this wonderful Battle Rite Lunatic, which lets him recast it for a smaller one. And recast lasts for about 1.5 seconds, it's not very long. But if you look at these durations, it basically gives you 50% more. If you hit your first one, the second one is also going to hit and refresh the duration for 5 whole seconds of CC. That's a pretty ridiculous amount of control. And add to that 50% weaken, the ability to blind people, the ability to throw your petrify even more often. And that seemed like a pretty cool playstyle to me. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if I could make Sirius work in 2v2 as kind of a controlling monster, as opposed to the kind of hero that tunnels people down and often fails in the process. So let's see how well I did.
I feel radiant.
So here I am in game with Avarish on my team. This is a couple of games in, so I've gotten mostly used to the way he plays. But the thing that's most important to learn, and something that you're just not gonna find in most guides, is things like hero matchups, and especially what kind of risks you can take as your hero and what you can't. So I am intentionally, for the most part, staying back and focusing on, what I do best. Getting CCs, occasionally weakening someone, and trying my best to stay alive. It was a wonderful whiff trying to get on the igniter, but I'm doing my thing. I'm making sure that my Varish can do my thing, because that's what this build should excel at. Enabling my allies to do what they want to, rather than trying to do too many things myself. So You might know how to aim a lunar strike, but it's a lot harder to figure out how to position it in a way that'll actually hit someone. Like, when people are gonna stand still so you can always hit it. How are you gonna want to place it under their feet so that they have to walk out, so that they can't walk out and have the space? And then there's the other thing, which is landing his weekends. For the most part, I'm just, you know, trying to space in on someone and making it work. And occasionally it does. Occasionally I absolutely miss or get panicked. And I just do rune control instead, because that's never wrong. So you might notice this is going kinda awkward. I'm not really landing too many of my abilities. I occasionally get a decent petrify. That was a pretty good go in, but still taking it easy. Hoping that my ally doesn't die. And then Ashka misses his positioning and we collapse on him. But I'm not entirely sure how to approach this game, because I'm not sure what Avarish is capable of with this combination. And I'm not sure what the enemy team is aiming to do to us. But from this round I can learn that I haven't healed my Varus too much, and he's survived pretty fine. And I've not gotten that significant a pressure from the opponent's Ashka, and especially not the Paloma. They're not trying to collapse on me because of how defensively I'm playing. So I know that I can afford to get the Blind and Celestial split to get some extra CC out when I go in. And I mentioned the weaken. The thing about a weaken is it can affect different heroes in completely different ways. It both reduces the healing done or the damage done by 50%. So if you put it on an enemy damage dealer, you're practically healing yourself and the rest of your team by reducing their damage output. Let's put a pause in here to explain this. And if you're putting it on a healer, then you're reducing their healer, which essentially means you're dealing damage to the enemy team. And at this point, with this comp, we have quite a bit of protection and CC, so we're barely taking much damage, as that first round showed. So I'm thinking I can focus on using it on Paloma, on their healer. You might think it's the obvious choice because she is a healer, you want to hit him with the burst damage, but that's not what my playstyle is concerned with. My playstyle is concerned with getting value from the beacon. In that case, I couldn't reach the Paloma in the first place, but now I can. So get what I can, then use the thingy to reposition and hit the Paloma with the weaken. And then get a double CC on him, body block the rune, get that, create value. Downside is my Varesh has taken a lot of damage here by being focused by the Ashka, which I wasn't really paying too much attention to, because, well, I'm still getting the hang of things, so I can't always keep track of everything. I've got my ulti ready, she uses other side, perfect time to use it. I get interrupted, not the biggest deal. And there, at least my Varus didn't get hit by that ulti, but me getting hit is not great. And kind of missing abilities. So now we're getting kind of dire straits, so I'm using my weaken on the damage dealers to help us a little bit. I've got a new ulti, desperately trying to find use for it. Get panicked, lose a rune. Things aren't looking too well, mostly because I'm just not really finding anything. I'm occasionally healing something, rarely hitting my CCs. And here I've got a great time for ultimate, but it's barely enough to kill her, and because they got the rune, Ashka got his ulti. So just pause and a little bit go back. So now I'm in this awkward position where I'm 1v2 on a hero that I'm not really all that good at with 0 energy. So at this point, a good serious player would be pretty fine here. Paloma's 1 hit away from death. 10 HP. It shouldn't be hard to kill her in a multitude of ways. And then 1v1 against Ashka with decently similar HP should be totally in the Sirius's favor. But I get hit by an EX space, which puts me completely out of position and unsure what to do. Miss the spacing on my trance because I'm not that familiar with it yet, so I miss my charged hit. Should have just gone down and got myself my space to get my cooldowns back, reset that way. Because right now the best way to win is probably hitting a CC on the Igniter and then trying to get on Paloma. And especially the thing I'm completely not thinking about is a nice little thing called Crescent Gale, the EXM1 that Sirius has. It has massive range and pretty good burst damage. And it doesn't cost an entire bar of energy. I should be using it to finish her off to get the 1v1 against Igniter. But it's just unfamiliarity with the hero that's making me make bad decisions, like getting panicked and trying to trade M1s when Sirius's M1 is pretty bad. And they're the kind of rookie mistake of mistiming your hit on the rune. I could have easily last hit at that. The Igniter was just whacking away at it. I had much more burst damage. But I panicked, used it too early, missed the rune. Try to heal, get a CC finally, get my thing interrupted again. Paloma has some really good EX spaces here. And then had a space up, decided to try and trance something, didn't pause and didn't cancel it to space away. A completely winnable situation, just ruined by my unfamiliarity with what I should be doing. And so now I have an in-between match to think, that was terrible. I should have been using Crescent Kills. I should have gotten that kill easily. You know, the kind of things you should be telling yourself, asking yourself in between rounds. How could I have won that? And there's a pretty clear answer. And pretty sure I also figured out that answer at that point. Either way, we have a new round starting, and I'm feeling pretty confident with the game plan of CCing whichever basically is in a position to eat it, instead of just trying to fish for it. And using Weaken as much as possible on Paloma. Occasionally on Igniter if I have some damage I have to reduce. But mostly go on the Paloma, keep her healing low so that our what little damage output we have actually works. And try and last hit the rune. Well, very well done by my ally there. So Varus is barely taking any damage, so I'm just, you know, kind of chilling. I don't really need to cast anything. I've got a CC up, as you can see here, but if I just used it over there, it probably wouldn't have hit. They probably would have been able to walk out or space out, if necessary. But now Igniter's spacing in, and, well, I miss it because of the knockback, but I got the second one, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I get a little bit over-eager on the ultimates. She had a space up. I should have seen that coming. She didn't have her other side, so I really wanted to use it. And I can get a little bit of damage off of it. Let's see how much that was actually. If this thing will show me. It doesn't. Okay, that's a shame. But, you know, that's probably about 50 damage from an ulti. Which is not exactly great, but it's better than nothing. I did not have a space up there, so I could really not have done anything about that. A little bit of a hard place, so just trying to space out, get myself my health orbs. Keep getting chased down. There I actually remember that this is a skill. So Prismatic Strike is not very good. The damage is low. A snare of 1 second is not very great. It's not really in my game plan at all. Like, it's useful for chasing people down, but it's not something I do ever, and I don't think Sirius is good enough at it to really be worth doing. But it does cover a little bit of distance, so it got me around the corner away from pressure. It was pretty worthwhile at that point. And then I got the doubling cap, and suddenly all of my pressure is gone. I can get all of the orbs I want. I can prepare for getting the rune, which I'm specifically careful. I could have immediately started hitting it, but Igniter was here. Varus hit it with one of his M2s. Maybe by accident, maybe actually premeditated. Would have been cool. But I don't want him to steal it, so I want to make sure that he's distracted before I go for that. Because I knew that was 2 hits necessary. At this point, again, I did have a space up, so I could have maybe reacted to that. But I still get away, get my pressure down, get some healed orbs, and You know, at this point, I'm pretty sure that this guy has it in for me, so I try to stay as far away from him as possible. Always deny runes, very important. That other side might have been badly timed for that. I'm not sure what she was trying to save him from. But now we get suddenly a really good burst damage on Paloma after I'd been basically running away for half the time. And with double ultis up, this should be easy. Just keep the Igniter's pressure off of me. And use this opening when I have it to get the counter kill, or the first kill. And the rest of the rounds should be pretty easy. Varus secures the rune to make sure that we don't have any disadvantage at all. Wanted to get those orbs, but getting away and staying healthy is more important. And Varus finishes him off. So I'm getting more comfortable with the idea that Ashka is primarily gonna go for me. This is a switch in his game style. In the first few rounds, he'd been going for Varus mostly. But with Varus getting healed, applying weakens, having his shield, it doesn't really do all that much. So trying to find this areas, especially with the skills that aren't transable, is more workable as a playstyle for Ashka. And it's something I need to be aware of, so try and stay back far enough that Varus can do this frontlining thing, and I can hit my CCs. Try and hit my weakens, and probably miss them. Try and do a little bit of extra damage where I can. And was hoping for him not to space out. Should have again hit the Paloma to reduce the healing which he put out. It's okay. Body block the rune, super important. Now, I think I'm going to be a little bit over-eager with this ultimate. I'm happy to get it this early, which normally wouldn't be the case without all of those orbs and constant healing. She uses her EX base, she has her other side up. I should know this. I shouldn't even be doing that. Sadly, because of the way channels kind of work right now, I wouldn't even been able to cancel cast that. It's like, you have 0.1 seconds to cancel cast and still keep your energy, otherwise you lose everything, so I kind of just had to make do with it. I should never have pressed that button without the other side being up. But that's okay. It's the kind of mistakes you learn from. So now Ashka's getting in a weird position where he's just walking past Varus. But Varus kind of just led him and then wasn't prepared for his ultimate coming out. He gets a pretty nice one that secures us the rune and does a bunch of damage to the Paloma, but I keep getting pushed away from her. She's going for the orbs, which I now try to deny, while Varus is being 1v1 by Igniter without any outs up. So, I have 3 heals, I should be trying to help him, I should be spacing towards him. Oh, I do get a few ults up, so I can give her the orbs. I get a pretty good ultimate off this time. Not enough to finish her off because of how far away she was. But again, this might be a bit too greedy on my part, trying to get that kill while my Varus is dying. So now once again in this position where I'm 2v1 with no energy at all and kind of in a bad position. But at least I had a previous round, so I kind of know what I need to not do. First of those is overcommit. So when he hits it, I immediately try and disengage. But the Paloma spaces after me with nothing up. I thought. Other side already came up just in time. But with nothing up now, that's enough for me to get the kill that I should have had the previous time. Get all the things I can. And at this point, which is a little bit late honestly, I remember that Crescent Kill is the thing. Mostly I remember it because I'm at 3 bars of energy. There's a really big orb over here and I'm like, I can't waste all of this. Oh yeah, I have the X moves. So, time to just spam the fuck out of those because it's totally fair. Look at that, just almost 50 damage done from that range with a hitbox that's almost impossible to dodge. And then I'm suddenly just in the advantage, even though he had twice my health before that. This is of course a healer versus a DPS setup, which is hard for him, especially if he doesn't have ulti. Which he didn't, because he already used it before. But he got the rune, that's where that energy suddenly comes from. But of course that means he's out of outs, so I get my energy off. Gets the rune, gets all of his health back, but I got some orbs instead, and I still have my healing. So, at this stage, I'm stuck in this 1v1 situation where you just have to get back onto your fundamentals, which is the primary main concern, most important thing, have more cooldowns than your opponent. I don't really have something that I can spam aside from my EXs. Mostly I can try to CC him and get free damage that way, or I need to find an opening to space onto him and get my weakened damage off. So that's mostly what I'm looking for. So I try to juke him, and it works. At least this first time. And then the counter with no more outs up, and I catch the 1v1.
Pass the trials.
So in this game I basically started out not really knowing how to approach the game, because I have a partner hero that I'm not really sure how our dynamics work out, and I'm facing against a team that I'm not sure what their approach is going to be. I started out playing a bit confused, trying to just jump on whoever is close by without keeping enough track of their outs, and without really having an idea of what I was trying to maximize and what my best timings were. So throughout the rounds I learned when to time my in-caps to get the most chance to hit those petrifies, and I hit quite a bunch of them towards the end and really limited the amount of pressure they could put out. And I realized that trying to weaken the Ashka constantly wasn't as beneficial to us as weakening Paloma, because our protection was more than plenty for us to survive. We weren't really taking too much pressure from their side, so making sure that their healing was limited and they couldn't recover from the damage that we were able to do was far more valuable to us. And eventually I figured out that this hero has a few EXs that aren't worthless, and when stuck in the position of a 2v1 that was kind of in my favor, the first time I dropped the ball, wasn't entirely sure how to approach it, how to stay safe enough while also finding the opening to get the kill. While in the second one, I found her lack of outs, she went in aggressively when she shouldn't have, and I completely punished her for it, and then figured out the way to win the 1v1 against Igniter by abusing the EXM1 and sealed the deal that way. So, yeah, that helps you. It's the kind of the process of figuring out the limitations of your hero, the kind of approach you want to take in a game, how you need to adapt to situations that you haven't really seen before, how you need to learn how to use skills that you haven't really used all that much before. And in short, that's how you get proficient with a hero. Just do a whole bunch of that. Figure out what's going well, what isn't working, why it's not working, and how to make it work. How to hit your shits, how to dodge their shits, and how to win your games. So that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and once again, if you have any suggested topics or things you'd like to hear about or anything else, feel free to drop a line somewhere.